Hey guys, thank you for checking out this newest episode. On this episode, I'll give you a quick update of the playoffs as they're happening. Also, my cousin Aaron stopped by the show, and I gotta give some Dez talk, right? Plus, do he think LeBron James is the GOAT? And lastly, I explain why Adidas' latest statement is not the statement they probably should have made. Thank you guys for listening. Alrighty, so game 3 of the Houston Rockets versus the Minnesota Timberwolves will be tonight. And the Rockets are currently leading 2-0. And I would say this, man. Game 2 is exactly why the Rockets, when they got the opportunity to get Chris Paul, they took it. This is exactly what they hoped for when they traded for him. And what I mean by that is James Harden went 31 minutes. He went for 2 for 18 for 12 points. Chris Paul, on the other hand, who redeemed himself from his game 1 turnover issues, he dropped 27, 10 to 18, 3 for 5 on the three-point line. Trevor Ariza picked it back up, 15 points. Eric Gordon still have to get it together. But shout out to Houston homie, Houston native, Gerald Green, 21 points. This is exactly what James Harden needed last season in that game 6. This is exactly what he needed. Somebody to help him pick up the damn slack when he having an off night, because he was going to have an off night at some point. Luckily, CP3, Gerald Green, and Trevor Ariza was there to carry the load. And I'll say this too, man. It has to be a deflating feeling to know that, oh yes, we got James Harden locked up. We got this. Wait a minute. Who got CP3? Oh wait, who got Gerald Green? Who's holding Trevor Ariza? That has to suck. And the way that the Rockets played the games, you have James Harden and Chris Paul starting together, and next thing you know, Chris Paul is sitting down on the bench because he's going to take control of the second team. So now you're in a situation where for 48 minutes, for the entire game, at the very least, that point guard position is fucking solid. There's no concern. There are no worries about who is going to be running the point guard. No worries about the talent level at the point guard position. No worries. Because you got one in James Harden who ran the point actually last season. And you have one Chris Paul who be doing it, who people could say is the top 10, top 5 all-time point guard. And it's insane. It's insane, man. It's insane. It's been a crazy year for the Rockets. This is why they won 65 games, because they can win ugly games like they did in game 1, and they can blow out a team out of the water with nothing from their star player. I want to say nothing because 12 points ain't nothing to sneeze at, but still, you get my point. He wasn't himself. And if James Harden was himself, we were talking about maybe a 130 point win, 130 to 82 win, maybe. That's another thing too. The Rockets defense got back on point. Thank Jesus, because I don't know how I would have handled that if they did not. But so the Rockets are looking to go up 3-0, and as many people know, teams that go down 0-3 typically do not win the series. Most of those 0-3 teams do not even push a game 7. And really, assuming that the Rockets take care of business like they did in game 2, it's going to be no different in game 4. And the Rockets can sit home and rest for what I believe is going to be even a tougher matchup in either Utah or Oklahoma City. that's going to be even a tougher matchup at that. So we'll definitely see how the rest of that play out. But Rockets, you're good, man. You're good. I'm happy, man. I'm happy as a fan. I'm happy. Let's keep it up, man. Let's keep it up. Also, we have the Philadelphia 76ers against the Miami Heat. That's an early game at that. Philadelphia is leading the series 2-1. Miami kind of got that little win in game 2. And Joel Embiid, man, with the mask on and everything, and whew, man, he was pissed. Like he had that little snap saying that he was pissed off that he couldn't play. He came to ready. He was ready to play. 23 points for Joel Embiid. Dog, man, he was ready to play. He was not messing around with anybody in that game. Where the hell was Hassan Whiteside though? Where was it? That's disappointed me because even in my preview I was like, yes, Hassan Whiteside, Joel Embiid, let's make this work. Whiteside has been nowhere to be found. What the hell? Oh man. Oh, that pissed me. That disappointed me, man. He disappointed me, bro. Like, man, nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found. This still might go 7 games. Miami might just win one today. They might just win it today. So I don't know, man. But we'll again. We were going to see. We're going to see how this works out. So. In other news, back to the Western Conference, we may have a sweep. The Portland Trailblazer is currently trailing the New Orleans Pelicans 3-3. And as I said before, no team in the NBA has ever came back from 0-3 deficit to win a series. The record is 0-127 all time. And I'll say this, man. I thought the Blazers would win at least one at home. I thought they're going to win both games at home. But Jrue Holiday has been locking Damian Lillard up. Anthony Davis cannot be stopped. It is pandemonium out there in Portland. That has to be really disappointing, though, for Portland. Because you figure Portland, man, they finally got over that hump. They got a high seed and no longer the 6, 7, 8 seed type of team. Now they in the 3rd seed winning the division type team, and this is how you end the season, but not even winning one game? Dog, what the hell? What the hell, Dame Lillard? It's like ever since Chris Paul hit that layup on you in garbage time, it's like I don't know, maybe your focus has been like, I don't know. But then again, they had one, they wasn't a hot streak, but still, dude. That's what people gonna bring up. They're not gonna bring up the fact that y'all won like 10 straight at one point, ending the season. We're gonna go back to that moment where you and CJ McCollum talking about there gonna be no more layups if I got something to do with it. Well, you probably gonna have no layups to make after this game. You might be going home. If y'all can't win one game out of this, if y'all can't win this one game, oh man, I'll hate to be a Portland Trailblazer fan right now. I would hate that. Man. And I picked this game. I picked the Pelicans in 7. Like, no way in hell would the Pelicans supposed to win 3 in a row. That is insane to me. Insane. Whew, man. Man. In the late game, you have the Oklahoma City Thunder going to play the Utah Jazz. The series is tied 1-1. And man, you talk about a team that wasn't supposed to make the playoffs. Utah, wow. You was 1 win away from winning your division and getting, the 3rd seed and get to play at home. Now it seems like it don't even matter because you got a game with OKC. And I would say this too. Donovan Mitchell, man, he is a stud. He is dog. Rookie of the year or not, he is a stud, and he is not to be slept on. Like I said, he's been balling, man. When I even though I'm picking Ben Simmons to win the Rookie of the Year, and trust me when I say this, it is very close second. Personally, I think it's a very close second. Now, people might think that it's a blowout for Ben Simmons. Nah, man. Donovan Mitchell has a case. He has a case. If people can get off the stupid rule argument, and maybe try to use Mitchell points per game or his play as a reason why he won Rookie of the Year versus the trying to argue semantics of Ben Simmons being able to chill in the NBA locker room with a broken foot. When people get off of that and focus on what Donovan Mitchell actually done as a player, they can understand why he's even in the running for Rookie of the Year. And I just want to say this real quick. That's been my biggest gripe. Again, like I mentioned before, it's not as if Donovan Mitchell is way behind Ben Simmons as far as play. It's not as if Donovan Mitchell don't have a case using his numbers. He has a strong case. It's just that he, along with a lot of people, are spending too much time trying to argue a rule that has been in place. Now, no matter what you agree, if you agree with the rule or not, it doesn't matter. The rule is in place. It's in place. So let's get off of this. Well, Ben Simmons is not a rookie because he got an NBA paycheck. He got to hang with Joel Embiid in the locker room all year while Donovan Mitchell was taking fake classes for a year. I don't care. Donovan Mitchell is great in his own right. He is a fucking stud in his own right. Let's get off of Donovan Mitchell. Actually, let's get off of Ben Simmons and the rule that you don't agree with. If you love the rule so damn much, just stick to the NFL because that is the only place that rule exists. All baseball, basketball, hockey, they have a D league, they have a developmental league, which is why the rule states as they are stated within their respective leagues. They have a D league. That's partially why their rule is like that. It's partially why with Ben Simmons is a rookie this year versus last season. That's partially why. NFL do not have no kind of D League, and you cannot have a D League in football because football is too dangerous of a sport to have a damn D League. So, shout out to Brody Herb because he actually typed that in and I kind of stole it from him. So, I'll give him the proper credit. Proper credit, I should say. So, again, let's get off of that. Donovan Mitchell is great. Utah, I picked to win the series in 7. It might go 6. I don't know. Maybe it depends on what they do tonight. But, Donovan Mitchell, you're a stud. If you win Rookie of the Year, I will clap my hands. I'll congratulate you, even though you don't know me. I don't know you. So, But anyways, we're going to take a quick break, like literally a few seconds. And after that, I got my cousin Aaron joining the show. And he asked me, since we're talking a little bit about basketball, he asked me, he wanted to get some hot takes about LeBron James and whether or not LeBron James is the GOAT. Also, since he likes football, I guess we can talk about Dez Bryant a little bit. I guess. Just stick around. Welcome back to the show. And I got me a recurring guest in the building, Mr. Aaron Hughes, the myth, the legend, the GOAT. What's going on, sir? How you doing today?
I'm blessed, taking it one day at a time. How about you?
Man, living life, man, living life, living life. So let's just kind of jump into what we're going to talk about.
Okay.
So recently, maybe in my opinion, think about probably happened. Makes sense when you think about it. Dez Bryant is no longer a Dallas Cowboy. If you haven't heard the news by now, he's been the first 8 years of his career in Dallas, 73 touchdowns, 7,459 yards, 531 receptions. And I ask you, because there's been a lot of conversation about that topic, what is the most egregious move to you? The fact that they cut him or how they did it?
Cutting a person is part of the business, but there's always a way to deal with conflict, any form of disagreement, or any form of parting ways. I felt that it wasn't necessarily Garrett's guys because Jerry runs the team. Garrett is the guy that is the puppet. So, with that being said, I feel like it was everybody in the room but Jerry no longer holds as high of esteem as he once did because he doesn't have those same people working for him. So I feel that Dez Bryant, I said it during the season that Dez Bryant was the reason why Dak wasn't developing how he should have been developing. And I think that he's also one of the reasons why Tony Romo could never develop into a clutch quarterback. Am I saying the reason? No. A reason? Absolutely. However, that whole team and that whole organization played a part into it. If you're going to do business, you do business how you want business done to you. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay. You know what? I understand your point. I do say I don't know. I'll say a couple things about that. I mean, I am planning on having somebody that is closer to the Dallas team to really talk about that. But from the outside looking in, I think the biggest thing that Dez had going against him was his contract. I think he was going to be about 16 million against the cap for the Cowboys. And right now, at least before they cut Dez, the money was a little bit funny.
16.5. Who's
Right.
counting?
Yeah.
Who's counting?
So I think that's really the biggest thing, and probably why it took so long to cut him. I don't know. Maybe that decision should be made earlier, if you ask me. But again, you got a situation where Dez Bryant is basically playing through injury, and of course that leads to production dropping, and of course for 16.5 mil, the last thing you need to happen is your production drop. Then again, you have Sammy Watkins, who's pretty much getting the same contract and had more injuries than Dez Bryant. And Sammy Watkins hasn't been in the league. I don't think he's been in the league 5 years yet. So I don't know. It's really a int- like more conversation now is about the how it played out versus the fact that he's cut because I think anybody with a rational football sense, although it may be hard because you know who Dez is to the Cowboys or was to the Cowboys and their fans. You know, you do understand the financial, the business side of it because it is a business. Once team deem you're no longer useful, they would definitely let you go, regardless of whatever reason. But I don't know. It's just interesting, and I also I found this one stat. This was really interesting. Is the catchable percentages. And from 2012 to 2014, Dez Bryant had a 70% catchable target rate versus 2015 and 2017, where he had a 60% catchable target rate. And really, the only thing that happened between those two, the 70% and the 60%, is Tony Romo retired. That's really the only thing that happened in that time frame that Tony Romo is gone. So if so, you would let me ask you this: is it just a matter of for some reason Dak Prescott and Dez Bryant just really couldn't figure it out because somehow Tony Romo knew exactly what to do with Dez Bryant. He knew exactly what to do. They probably didn't win enough games as far as like the big games, but at the very least, Tony Romo and Dez Bryant was a combination. You might as well call them the Reggie Wayne and Peyton Manning of Dallas. If that,
Uh, uh, Peyton is one of my guys. Brett is one of my guys. Of course, Steve, Joe, definitely Troy. Those are my guys. So I don't really like to use those names very loosely, especially when it's associated with two guys that were never truly able to cash in on their ceiling and their potential. However, I do kind of understand that regardless to whether or not you click with a person, they throw the ball over 30 times in a game. And if you are a number one receiver, you should be targeted on anywhere from 6 to 10 balls, averaging anywhere between 4 to 8 catches a game. And that's at the bare minimum. So on the schematic standpoint, because I've been studying the offense that they're running, the Air Coryell offense that won them 3 Super Bowls.
Right.
I have been studying that system, and it's been very successful. However, quarterbacks don't have a great completion percentage with that system. However, when the number one guy is at his best, everything else falls into place. When he's not, it falls out of place. However, the offensive line plays a factor. The running game plays a factor. Dak plays a factor. The tight ends have to be effective. And now that we're running much more of a spread, now they're running more of a spread version of that system. You no longer have the Daryl Johnstons of the world that made Emmitt Smith famous, who helped to bring the Cowboys the success that they had in the 90s.
Right.
So with that being said, until Dez can get back to a 65, 70 catch performance at his ceiling and at his apex, we don't need to say it's Tony Romo or clicking or anything like that. The ball is still thrown. You got to catch it. He wasn't attacking balls. He wasn't running sharp routes. He wasn't coming out of his cuts. He wasn't getting wide open. Dak forced him footballs. Tony forced him footballs. And it just got to a juncture where the business side outweighed a lot of things. Because that 16, I guarantee to you, hits the defense harder than it hits the offense. Because all of that money that they're paying them, the offense could be at its best. But what's been their biggest struggle? Defense. So if we're not able to pay the defense, none of that matters. Where's the youngest part of their entire team is the defense. We have to get experience there. They have to get better linebackers. They have to generate pass rushes. They have to get turnovers. That's another reason. Dak has to get more opportunities, and if the defense isn't able to generate turnovers, they can't build that rapport. So all of these things play a factor, and which is why I think that Jerry Jones is the reason for their success and the reason for their failure. It's okay to be able to write the checks, but don't always throw in somebody's face that I'm the reason why you're here. Because how is it so hard for you to part ways with the Dez Bryant, but it wasn't hard for you to part ways with a guy like Charles Haley or Michael Irvin or Ken Norton or any of these guys that caused so much quote-unquote trouble back in these days? You could look at Boys Will Be Boys. You could look at every book, article, magazine, take anything that was written from the time that they started being successful up until now. They've managed to be able to be successful with troublemakers, and those guys have been able to perform at their best regardless of whatever penalties that they had. I just find it hard to believe that you let go of the all-time leading rusher, but you're having a hard time letting go of a guy that only averaged 31 catches in a passing league, 31 catches on the entire season. Let's get real here.
Yeah, you know what? And just kind of bring out to your point, I know that 2015 really wasn't a good year for Dez Bryant, and that's mainly because of honestly, I know the biggest thing that happened that year was Tony Romo going down. They done had used on the quarterback like underwear.
Yeah.
I do know the 2015 Dallas Cowboys season happened, and that's the 2016. Of course, we know Tony Romo officially retired. Oh, he didn't really officially retire, but he got hurt during the preseason. That's when Dak Prescott took over. So, and that's when really was Dez Bryant decline really got noticed because he declined in 2015, of course, but I think that's more so because I think I can't remember if he got hurt that year either. I have to get with an actual Cowboys fan to remind me of that, but his number definitely dropped out from 2014, and it had not made it to 1,000 yards since then. So, to your point, it is a passing league, and when your numbers are dropping off for whatever reason, chances are you're gonna get the boot when you're getting paid as much as Dez Bryant was set to make. So,
Early 30s,
so we
early 30s is inexcusable. Late 30s, they're phasing you out of the offense. Look at Andre Johnson, for example. Let's take a look at the in-state rival Houston Texans. The reason why his decline is no excuse is because look at what Andre Johnson was able to do with all of the quarterbacks. And he played with significantly more quarterbacks that were marginally not as good as even a Tony Romo, that were nowhere near a Troy Aikman or a Roger Staubach or even a Steve Walsh. So at the end of the day, let's not point fingers at anybody but Dez. You see your production declining, get with a receiver coach, get with a guru right then and there. Everybody knows that if a company is investing in you, you have to be at your best. Otherwise, what are they going to do? They're going to replace you. What they hold high school graduations, they hold high school graduations every year. They hold college graduations every semester. There's somebody there trying to take your job. They hold the draft that's coming up next week every year. If there wasn't somebody that they thought could take your job, okay. And wouldn't it be a slap in the face and a punch in the gut if they went and got Cortland Sutton, that is a mile from Jason Garrett's house, that goes to SMU, that's familiar with the Dallas-Fort Worth area, to come in and take that guy's spot, a guy who I feel has more years in him in totality than Dez Bryant. But I think that Dez just he needs to change his scenery. But he needed to change his scenery in more ways than one earlier than now, because your production on the field is one thing. But if you are unable to be the leader that a Dak and a Zeke and that entire locker room needs, it's a problem, which is why I've always said in all sports and in life, you need veteran leadership. You need a voice of reason. Point to somebody in that locker room other than Jason Witten and Sean Lee that is any form of an influence in that locker room. And don't say Jason Garrett.
okay, well, you know what, and you do have a good point that personal responsibility was needed for Dez Bryant, and I would say this, and I actually been speaking with somebody that might get him on a show next week, but there is something to Jason Witten. Maybe part of the reason why Dez was pushed out the door, and probably part of the reason why they waited so long to even push Dez out the door. I'm just saying, I don't know for sure. I'm just speculating. I'm just guessing because that's what we do on Twitter. We guess. So, but just to kind of wrap this one up, just quickly, in 5 words or less, the team that you see Dez Bryant signing with.
Well, I'm going to go with the Giants because they're definitely in need of a number 2 receiver. And I'm going to go with the Redskins because they need as much help as they can get. They can get Jesus, a disciple, Dez, go get Brandon Marshall, Michael Irvin still think he got it. Go get Steve Smith out of the booth. You need as much help as you can get to help that guy out, because clearly your last two quote unquote franchise quarterbacks didn't work out. Otherwise, you wouldn't have parted ways with them. And Eli Manning has more years behind him than he does in front of him. So let's send the only guy other than Nick Foles that's beat Tom Brady out in style and give Odell what he's been looking for, which is a ring. Help him firm up that defense, get a few more weapons on offense. Hopefully they get Saquon. I think they'll be in the playoffs next year if they can figure out a way to get all of those people under the cap. So that's my take.
All right, well, Giants did release Brandon Marshall, and from people that I have heard, Giants are not even worried about Dez Bryant. But again, we'll definitely see how the rest of the offseason plays itself out. So let's get into something else real quick. This is actually something you actually told me you want to speak on. So we've been talking about for since I guess 2000 maybe the prospect of a one LeBron James possibly beating out Michael Jordan as far as the greatest of all time is concerned. Now, with this conversation, of course, it's definitely subjective. It's definitely depend on who you talk to, depend on the age of the person you talk to. And I mean, to me, the only person I even seen play like throughout his whole career is LeBron James. So I try to stay away from that conversation as much as I can personally. But I guess you want to get some hot takes off by LeBron James. So you know what? You have the floor. Go ahead.
Um, I personally do not think that he was or is the greatest basketball player of all time, because I do not like to necessarily judge people based off of position and everything like that. And I don't like to judge people of different eras, because there are definitely a lot of things that play factors into them, as far as dieting, exercise, the way the game is played, the way the game is officiated, and just the way the world is now, as opposed to turning on the news or opening up a newspaper. You can tune into social media to really communicate with some of your favorite and definitely some of your not so favorite athletes. So as far as I'm concerned, if you really want to be honest, Michael Jordan had a tough time getting even to the finals because of how dominant the Celtics were at this juncture. They also had a tough time having to really play against some really tough defenses. And honestly, that also plays a factor, because let's look at the timetable. Let's look at Bird and let's look at Larry Bird and Magic Johnson. They came in 1979. I know that whole they won championships 80, 82, 85, 87, and 88. So the Lakers were pretty good in that time. So I don't really know how they would have been able to do anything. Then, of course, you had Larry Bird, who was his next to best competition. But very seldomly do you have guys that are able to play with future Hall of Famers like Magic Johnson was. Then you have Michael Jordan, who played with Dennis Rodman and Scottie Pippen and Steve Kerr and guys like that. So I don't want to discount or discredit anybody's greatness. And just like I don't want to discount my favorite player, Kobe Bean Bryant, who came into the NBA in 1996. I don't want to discount what he was able to do, but he also played with a Hall of Famer in Shaquille O'Neal, not to mention some great role players along the way that are on like a Santa Claus list of that are on a Santa Claus list of people that deserve just as much credit and recognition as the two guys that were quote unquote the face of the organization. So if I will say that LeBron James is the greatest, LeBron James is the greatest physical specimen that the NBA has ever seen, because very seldomly do you get a guy that's that big, fast, strong, with that kind of longevity that's been able to stay healthy, especially coming out of high school for this long, and to be able to play at the tail end of one era and, in a sense, revolutionize what we know as this era. At one point, LeBron James did not have an outside game. And that was one of the things that I was very critical about him with in my early years of journalism. But he's figured it out. He's figured it out. So as far as him being a complete player, I think he's really able to do that and say everything like that. So with that being said, I think that if you want to be abundantly clear, LeBron James, physical specimen, Kobe Bryant's toughness and tenacity, Michael Jordan's ability to revolutionize the game, and everybody before them being the foundation to what these players enjoy now. But nobody can say that rings are the reason why a person is or isn't great. Because look at the facts. Even a guy, Bill Russell, that is 11-1 in the NBA Finals, isn't even considered to be great. And the logo of our NBA only won one. So do not use statistics to back up your argument about why LeBron James is or isn't the greatest basketball player of all time, or why Kobe is or isn't, or Michael. I say let's appreciate greatness. But if you want to debate, we can debate. If you're not going to put Bill Russell in the conversation, let's talk about something else.
Well, I will say this: if you're gonna use rings as your argument to why somebody's better, you might as well say Robert Ory is better than Michael Jordan because Jordan has 6, Robert Ory has 7. That's just
All
my
right.
whole. But
My whole point. So my thing is this. With that being said, if we're going to judge people from two different positions, Charles Haley had 5 Super Bowl rings before Tom Brady had 5 Super Bowl rings. And somehow, some way, Tom Brady has lost 3 times to inferior quarterback play.
yeah, I'll be honest with you. I ain't never heard of Charles Haley until Tom Brady won his 5th Super Bowl ring. So you do have a little bit of a point there. So, but
That's my point. I trust me. I've been doing my research. I think I'm pretty versed up until about the early 1970s with the Purple People Eaters, Rosie Greer and them, Deacon Jones,
right.
Roger Staubach, Bob Lilly, just to kind of name a few. However, I do firmly believe that if you're going to make an argument, you can't build a house without a foundation. So don't build your argument without facts.
Right. Right. Well, as always, I love when you give me some time on the show because I tell you, man, this is gonna be a recurring theme, man. I got to keep it back on. All right.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. I appreciate you, and I'll keep in touch as always.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. Have a good evening.
No problem. You have a good one, man. You have a good one.
That was some words from my cousin Aaron. And in a few seconds, I'm going to end the show by letting you guys know why it is that Adidas just did not get this one right. I'll let you know why I think that.
Okay, so recently we know that Colin Kaepernick had a workout plan for Seattle and got to a situation where he did not give Seattle an answer as to whether or not he's going to kneel for the anthem. And it proceeds to them postponing, and as they said, that workout. Reports are saying that they are keeping Kaepernick in their eyes as an option. But for now, they want him to come up with a plan as far as the anthem is concerned. So, I mean, to me, it's not that egregious because a team actually wants to plan versus, you're going to stand up or else. At least that's what it sounds like to me. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm naive, right? Maybe I'm naive about this. So, at the Arizona State Global Sports Summit, Mark King, he is the president of Adidas North American division. He spoke at this event, and I quote, "If he signs on the team, we would definitely want to sign him. We love athletes. They have a platform to make the world a better place. If they're activists in a way that brings attention to something that moves the world forward, even if they're controversy at the moment, we're really interested in those athletes because I think it represents the world today." Close quote. And this is the part of the Colin Kaepernick story where I'm just like done talking about hoping or potential signing Colin Kaepernick. And here's why I think Adidas done screwed himself over. Because now you put yourself in a position to where you might have fans pissed off at you from both sides. Like you have fans that are boycotting the NFL because they feel that Kaepernick is blackballed. That you got them pissed at you, and you got the other side that is boycotting the NFL due to the fact that players actually dare to kneel. And so now you get at it both ways. And which is, I don't know, personally, I don't understand what was Mark King PR person that day? Was the PR person there with him? Like, what did he think he was trying to do? Is he trying to give some false hope to the Cap supporter? Was he trying to pretty much or was he trying to rub it in Cap supporter noses and say, yeah, we'll sign up if he gets signed to the team, knowing that chance of him getting signed to an NFL team at this point is probably slim to none. And slim is being very, very, very generous at this point. So I don't understand the reason behind it. I don't understand the need for it. Personally, I really don't know. And I mean, by the way, do Kanye West play for a basketball team? Or 2 Chainz or Pusha T? I think I saw Pusha T in that Adidas commercial. Telling Aaron Rodgers he needs to listen to him. Or listen to his tracks, I should say. I think I remember that. So, what about Kaepernick that he needs to be an actual member of the National Football League? Do Adidas have a secret handshake deal with Roger Goodell that says that, yeah, you want to sign Kaepernick, he must be with the NFL because, that way the NFL look good along with Adidas. Is that what's going on with here? What's going on? I don't know what's going on, but it seems that Adidas have put themselves in a bad spot because, dude, y'all know that Colin Kaepernick is a hot button topic. Y'all know this. And you also know that making promises that you may have to live up to. I'm not saying that Kaepernick will never get signed. I'm just saying it's highly unlikely at this point. But honestly, you could have gave Kaepernick all the praise in the world without having that, yeah, we'll sign up if he's on a team. Like, you don't need to sign dudes. You don't need to sign people. They're not on NFL teams. You don't have to do that. If you really wanted to make a statement, you would sign them. And that's the mind-blowing things. That is what mind-blowing about all of this. Just like the NFL teams. If NFL or if Adidas want Kaepernick to be signed with them, he will be signed right now. We wouldn't be debating on whether or not Adidas should say what they said. So should they say what they said? He will be signed. Case closed. Period. Put a stamp on it. Put it in concrete. He will be signed. And so I don't know if him saying that was even worth it at this point because it means nothing. It's hollow. Very hollow. So Man, that's just my whole spiel on that, man. Like my honestly, unless you're going to sign Colin Kaepernick, like really, like if he's not signing at the moment that you're talking about Colin Kaepernick, please do not bring him up. I think I'm at the point where I'm exhausted from the conversation. I think a lot of people on both sides of the situation are just exhausted because it's the never-ending cycle of Colin Kaepernick is going to work out for the Houston Texans. Oh no, the Houston Texans said they're good in the quarterback room. That's why he's not getting signed. Like we have to stop this cycle. It is bad for our health collectively. And I hate to say that because I hate to, put Kaepernick in that, category, but damn, this is what it is right now. And it's sad. I was listening to a couple of my friends over in the No Filter podcast. By the way, you guys should check that No Filter podcast out if you have not already. And they was just kind of talking about the effect of social media in sports. And maybe if, wasn't for maybe social media is pretty much the reason why Kaepernick is out of a job. Not to say that his movement wouldn't mean nothing, but if there wasn't social media to keep track on what's going on, because just the very hint of Kaepernick getting a workout is pissing people off. Maybe that's just a consequence of Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. Like I wouldn't know that Kaepernick was in Houston recently if it wasn't for Twitter. So maybe it's, I don't know. But I do know this. I don't want to hear about Kaepernick until he signed somewhere. I don't care. I don't care if it's the CFL. I don't care if it's the, Vince McMahon League that's supposed to be coming back. I don't care what it is. I just do not want to hear about him potentially getting signed because what all that's going to do is not really for me because I'm kind of like I'm emotionally dead about that subject. All it's going to do is give people hopes up that yes, my team could do what's right. My team finna do it. Next you know, they come with the bullshit excuse as to why he's not signed. The next you know, we're going down this rabbit hole once again. And I, for one, is not going to get caught going down the rabbit hole. So, if you're going to sign Cap, I would love it. I would love Kaepernick to get another opportunity because if I believe that he got the right. He has the right. He should have the right. I know it's not really like deserved anything, but I feel like if Brock Osweiler and Jay Cutler can get another shot to stink up the joint, Cap should have that same chance to stink up the joint. If Cap come back and stink it up, I would never lobby for him to be quarterback ever again. But we probably never gonna know if he ever will be stinking up the joint. And honestly, maybe he shouldn't come back at all because if he has to go through all of this with the grievance and trying to show teams that he's ready to play, that he's been working out. If you have to go through all of this, then maybe it's just not worth it. Maybe you shouldn't want to be back. Because I know one thing about me. If I do not feel welcomed, I'm not sticking around much longer or even coming back if I already have left. Maybe Kaepernick should just stay away. Like, seriously, maybe. Because anybody that wants you or they want to sign you, they're going to do it. They're not going to let no bullshit reason keep them from doing so. None at all. So, if Kaepernick wants to be back in the league, I'll support it. If you don't, I'll be happy just as much. And maybe we all should just be happy that hopefully maybe now after this Adidas story, nothing else pops up until Kaepernick gets signed or Kaepernick decides he's not playing football ever again. Either way, I'm done being caught down. I'm done, like, getting any kind of hopes up. Especially when I know that the bullshit is coming behind the door. Thank you guys for checking out this episode. If you haven't, please subscribe to iTunes, Google Play, Podbean, and also YouTube under the same name. If you have not, check it out. Or please subscribe to the YouTube channel, because the YouTube channel will include topics that do not make the show. But again, thank you guys for listening, and as always, I'll talk to you guys later.